right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's stream here. Let me adjust my window capture so that way I get everyone in here. All right, all right. I gotta adjust that. Okay, we're almost there.
All good.
All right. All right. Welcome, Patric Catani.
Hello.
No, it's a huge pleasure to have you here today. Um, yeah.
Thanks for having me. That's very nice.
My
Thank
name's
you.
Christian. I know we've emailed a bit. This is my our co-host for today. This is Richard. Uh,
Hello.
we've
Hi there, nice to meet you.
both been massive fans of a lot of your work with the Behemoth and stuff for quite some time, and
Yeah.
we just really want to have this fun little stream with you here today.
That's great. Yeah, looking forward. So happy to hear, first of all.
Yeah. Uh, so I'll go ahead and get started with. So we asked a lot of our community and whatnot, just questions that they'd ask you themselves as well. And the most asked question that people had for you was how is making a song for a video game different than making other types of music?
Oh, basically, I mean, normally people would say that you don't use much lyrics and you go more cartoonish and you would basically make it loopable and you make it less distractive. Like, I think in a lot of games, people want to have music which is like really, really background. But in all cases, or in most of the cases, like in Behemoth's case, they really give the music a big role. Like, and that's great. Like, I think like a lot of the music they pick, like not only mine, is really also functioning as songs. Like, and it's really nice to work with a company like that that doesn't only want to have like an organ in the background or like certain things that
Yeah.
don't stick. But on the other hand, of course, it has to be loopable. Of course, in the best case, it's like something that can play over and over again, and I'm always happy to hear that people really enjoy it that much and really enjoy playing along with it. So, but my music is basically very cartoonish. Like, I did a lot of stuff in the past, and I'm like since forever a video game music collector since my childhood, in fact. So,
That's awesome.
so that left its marks, I guess. Like that definitely left the traces.
Yeah. Um, in like your process for making, that kind of music, do you ever like do you play the game itself to be like, I feel like this should be played right here, or do they just kind of ask for a vibe that they want in this area, or like how exactly does that
Of
back and
course,
forth work?
sure. Of course, like if there's a possibility to do work like that, it's absolutely the case. With Alien Hominid, it was basically, or Alien Hominid Invasion, it was definitely, since we had so much time and we really could play back and forward the whole thing and communicate very, very detailed. It was really like a rotation, like vice versa. We would say like, yeah, I could imagine this thing here, and then I sent something, but then they also told me, yeah, but we imagine it a bit more under threat or whatever.
Yeah.
And so yeah, no, that's the best case. Like it's not always possible. Like, I also worked with for other games in the past, like also for other companies, and sometimes uh, it just has to be your imagination how it could play, because a lot of other companies don't necessarily let you have an inside look if you're an external producer for it and stuff like that. So it always depends how the work base functions or is.
Yeah, I can absolutely see how that would be like just a preferable, yeah, kind of situation to see how you'd want to make the music.
Mm.
Well, on the next question. Let me go through my list here. What do you use to make music? What like program?
I'm surfing through a lot of software because sometimes it's more like I really I come from this tracker music. Generally, like for many years, I was working on Amiga tracker, Pro tracker, but also released a lot of records with that. There was basically a past with my former digital hardcore band that was released by the Beastie Boys on Grand Royal Records, and that was partwise stuff that was produced on Amiga and Pro Tracker. But with time, I got used to work more on Cubase and then later on Nuendo because it has also some better functions to work for video picture and like film work and certain things. But I also learned basically the or like I got really into this renoise tracker for some projects and also Studio One and Ableton Live. So basically, I use a lot of different software and even Reason for certain projects. But then there's also some outboard gear, and I still have like here's a C64 just right in front of me, and then the
Mm.
Amiga just on the other side here and some synthesizer that still uses C64 synths, but also some analog gear and stuff like that. So I always try to implement everything for its own purpose or cause in some way. So
Yeah, it's nice to have as much that you can work with as possible. That's really cool. Okay, yeah, I have like very minor. I've spent like I think 2 years toying with like FL Studio, so I have like
oh yeah,
some knowledge, like very bare bones. But yeah, that's yeah.
that's
Uh,
actually one I was a bit lazy with, but I hear all the time. I hear great stuff about it, and it's just a matter of time. Like I really would like to try around a little bit more on it. I think it could be really nice, but it's basically there's always some stuff to do, and I can imagine that FL Studio is tons of fun as well.
Yeah, no,
So
I mean, you clearly, from what I've heard you make, you don't need any new equipment for the stuff you're making. It's awesome.
great
Uh,
one.
but
What
okay. Oh, go Richard.
what was your introduction to music? Like, was it a physical instrument introduced to you by like a family member, or was it a
Uh,
self-interest type deal, or was it just like electronic remixes your start?
I I don't know what was actually earlier because I had actually in elementary school, in primary school, I had a C16, like the Commodore 16. That was very early for me, and I really don't know if there was an overlap, if I had a computer before or if I had. There was some people coming around in school, and they told us, "Hey, if you join this choir," it was actually a church choir. But I could get free piano lessons when I joined. And as a kid, I was super excited and I really wanted to do it. And I went there and I took the lessons, and basically that really opened a lot of things in my head, like also to be involved so early to certain things like Bach, like in like church music in general, Latin music,
Yeah.
like really old Latin music. Uh, And then when I had the C16, I even tried to transcript certain things that I learned on piano in like BASIC, the programming language BASIC, but it was a disaster. So that didn't really work, especially not on C16. But later on, when I had the C64, I actually was very excited. There was all this music like C64 computer magazines that came either with a code that you could type off, like in machine code, and you were there for hours and typing, let's say, sound monitor, a music program, or whatever, all these kind of things. And later on, they had magazines that came with a disk, floppy disk, and basically. There was the first music programs and sound effect programs, and it was basically the same time when there was the very early sample-based music popping up, like this bump the bass, like and certain things like that. You might even know them from certain games. Was it Bullfrog games, maybe, or
I think I've heard of
like
them.
the
Yeah.
Xenon, or like and certain other ones. And it was like also like later on Amiga, it was a really big thing because they really did amazing sample music, and that was totally my thing. So I really knew this is something I want to do. Like weird sounds, scratching, sampling, cut off. Like it was very clear that this is completely my passion in some way. And then later on, I discovered. I mean, okay, in the C64 time, I had a friend who even could show. He even showed me how to rip music, video game music out of games. So basically,
Oh wow.
you could reset the computer, and it was still remaining in the memory.
That's actually
And
really
at some point,
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got really good in reading the machine code and making out the music. And he gave me certain basic player routines. Basically, there was whatever, what was it, JCH player and Rob Hubbard and a sound monitor and a few other ones that all had a different address in the system. And if you would know those, it was kind of easy to start the music with a simple routine. So I had discs full of music actually already back then, which was pre-internet. Like basically back in the day, you really had to rip them yourself or copy them in school, but that was so niche, like it was way too niche to bring video game music on floppy disk to school. Like games was okay, that was done, but with music it was really more rare. So basically, that was a really funny time and very funny entry for me. And later on, sorry, maybe I'm going a bit.
No, no. Well, this is what we're here for. We love. We love. Yeah, we're here to hear you talk. Yeah.
No, but basically later on, when we were, was a quite a time later when we already had this band on Digital Hardcore and Grand Royal Records, but we had the first trips to America. And then in Chinatown, I discovered a shop at Canal Street. It was a Chinese shop that was selling video game soundtracks on CD. And that was also really insane for me. And I got really this big stack of stuff like Far East of Eden and the Donkey Kong soundtrack and certain other ones where I was like really excited that this even exists and other people have this passion to really print it on CD and stuff. Like I really remember when I came back to Berlin and I showed it to everybody. Hey, look at this! It's like how crazy! And like, yeah, that's how it continued. I kept recording the music from Super Nintendo and everything, and yeah, I have a huge collection of nice soundtracks. So
So would you say like because one of the questions that we have here is who or where do you draw most of your inspiration from? But I want to add to that a little bit. Like, how big of an inspiration was like Nintendo kind of music? Because I can see like a kind of correlation between like a lot of the music you'll make with the same kind of vibe that a lot of Nintendo music will give off. So yeah, just
absolutely. Yeah, Nintendo for sure. Like I mean, but not only like there was a lot of Sega as well, for sure.
mhm.
And still discover new Sega soundtracks. Like there's like I mean, since there's so many of those games, also a lot of the ones that only came out in Japan. It's just crazy how much nice stuff you can find in there. But with Nintendo, of course, like also really far ahead, of course, is basically the Donkey Kong soundtrack for my like the Donkey Kong Country one on Super Nintendo. But there was something that really flashed me as well back in the day was the soundtrack of Parodius.
Mhm.
I don't know if you know, it's like a side-scrolling
I actually
shooter.
do. Yeah.
And then recently I just got also this one. Like I just found it on vinyl, the
Hey yo.
Contra
All
3.
right.
Ah no, that's not that's Alien Wars, but I have Contra 3 as well, which is better than this one. But basically, yeah, no, I was basically always interested in it, and I always loved the exaggeration in this video game stuff, and that it could go so far. And it was also very addictive. Like, but basically back in the day when I grew up as a kid, it was mainly this guys like Rob Hubbard or Ben Daglish or what was it, Martin Galway, I think. Like, but basically the C64 composers that definitely, when you listen to this as a kid, on and on and on, it definitely does something to the brain. Like, basically, I'm very happy about these
Yeah.
times. So this,
No, it's awesome to hear you just be so passionate about this craft. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of people who will continue to make things because they're good at it, but will slowly fall out of like that passion over time. And it's awesome to see that, you know, you still hold such like a strong passion. Like, you know, people will fall out of it just after like 5 years, and so it's just yeah.
okay. That's interesting to hear. Like, no, but basically, I hope not. Like,
Yeah.
I will
Yeah.
keep doing it.
Um. Well, another question that we have would be, is there a song that you've made for, you know, Behemoth or whatnot, that you would feel was the most challenging song for you to make? Like you had the hardest time, like just trying to get like the sound right. Maybe it's like the whatever factor at hand. Just you like had a hard time making it. You know?
I gotta say, this last time, after all these years I was working on the soundtrack
Mm-hmm.
and on the Alien Hominid Invasion soundtrack, I think at some point there was a little bit where I think like, okay, how could I mix, like, how could I do something that is still like surprising now, and how do I get out of this trap that it's like now repeating itself, because this Alien Hominid Invasion has so many tracks, and it was like such a long time span because there was this whole pandemic time in between. There was certain things were on hold. Uh, it was supposed to come out a bit earlier, but then basically we had more time and there was more things, and then there was basically this Juice Man, which was a little
Yeah.
bit of a challenge for me. But I really broke it up, just not to fall in this total routine. I asked Behemoth, hey, how would it be? I have this other song now. Like, would it be okay for you if we really split it in two completely different music parts? And if it's like a real change in the character, like from, because I really thought we really need something that breaks this kind of structure of like having like, okay, the between parts, and then it goes back to this really super fast something. And I thought for this Juiceman character we really can need something a bit more cartoonish and a little bit more uh how would you call it, wonky or
Yeah.
like
No,
quirky.
that summarizes
Yeah.
Behemoth music
And
very
Absolutely.
then
very
basically
strongly.
now there's basically this God Juice song in between, and then it goes back also to this more hyper speed part. But basically, that was something where I was happy that I tried around and tried around, but actually also tried something completely different at some point, just to have a little bit of a fresh idea in there in between as well. Even with the danger that people would think like, oh, okay, that's really different now in between, but maybe that. For me, it made sense. And luckily, the Behemoth guys are very open and really, with their use of music, also very creative and uh, like, yeah, open-minded, and they see the importance of it. So basically, that was also easy to discuss with them.
Yeah. So
So
how much creative control do you have like whenever you work on like video game music like that? Like how much is like we want this kind of genre kind of vibe, and how much is Patrick Catani going like this is what we need. This is what we were
I
going
mean,
for.
luckily, they like my sound. Like Behemoth likes my sound. That is a big advantage. And so basically, I don't have the feeling that I have to change myself much for
Yeah.
that or something. And I guess it can happen to you that companies really want that, but I basically did not have this situation so badly, or and if it happened, I'm not allowed to talk about it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's yeah. Heads up,
Oh,
Behemoth just hopped in chat and they wanted to say we love you, Patrick. Um,
Oh,
yeah.
right.
I love them too.
um,
On the
another,
subject
yeah, yeah.
of alien hominid invasion, you know the song that goes boppy 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 ba,
Mm.
happy termination. Is that your voice that's changed into a higher pitch, or is that a recording of someone else, or is that a
No,
sample you put there?
it's a synthesized voice. Basically, it's a
Okay.
little bit the principle of this Vocaloid in some way, but it's a bit supported with certain samples, and it was more or less a coincidence that it turned out so nicely. Like so often, basically, it's very often you cannot uh, say, okay, this is going to be the good one, you know, like you have to try a lot of times, and then certain things turn just out very nice. So, and that was one of them. And basically, that was actually not really on the agenda or like not
Yeah.
really planned as well. So I just really also offered it, and basically, yeah, so it was just like quite satisfying to see this, like because I saw this little video animation with the aliens bouncing then after
Yeah.
the level is finished, and I thought, okay, they need something like a really nice disco tune in some way, like
Mm-hmm.
a disco in a different way, and so I'm very happy that it worked out like that, and that also Behemoth really liked it then in the
Oh,
end.
it
So
sounds
because
it's one of our favorite. Yeah, no, it Happy Termination is definitely one of my favorite songs from that game just because of that.
Yeah.
It's so fun, so it just kind of
But it's
it
also a
gets you.
great
Yeah.
fusion, you know. If
Yeah.
you have this animations and it looks like that, and you can really have the time to work on this, it's a big plus, of course, then
Yeah.
to create something.
Yeah. Um well, the next question that I'd ask is so you know every game that you've made music on, Battle Block, Pit People, uh, Alien Hominid Invasion. Do you have a favorite song from each of those? And if
Oh,
so, is there one that you're just like this is my magnum opus? You know, this is my favorite thing I've made.
oh, actually, I cannot really say
You
no.
can't. Yeah.
Uh, no, there is like there is a few that like really have like that was special moments for me. So basically, I was very excited how it turned out. Like basically, you have that all the time. Like in some ways. Like, but Happy Termination is of course one of them. But basically, I was mega happy. I did that in Bucharest. I was basically working abroad, and I had a little studio room at my girlfriend's place in Romania, Bucharest. And it was a new setup, and I was working on the stuff. And there was this shock theme from Pit People. That this
Yeah.
and I was whistling this around, and basically, I really just it was the first time I recorded something with my microphone I had in this room, and I added this also this sit sound, like the C64 kind of style, and then suddenly with this Western guitar to it, like the surf guitar accord, it had even like a Western touch to it.
Yeah.
And this is really the moments that I really enjoy, you know, where you can make a fusion of certain things that normally like have absolutely no relation to each other, but then they suddenly work. Um, and that was completely the concept of Pit People as well, with the whole time and space confusion. So basically, I find the whole mixture that happened there, music-wise, for me, it was just a huge playground and so much fun to work on a soundtrack like that as well. So if you have really uh, the possibility to use banjos and like electro bass lines with clarinets in a super EDM like style, whatever,
Yeah.
or this "Here We Come" one with this choir, this dun dun dun. Dun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was going on forever in this house, and I think also the neighbor, like luckily the neighbors downstairs were really super nice, like this old couple, like, but I think they really were wondering, what is this guy's doing? Like, where is he from? What is he doing? Like,
Hmm.
but it was just so much fun to work on these things, and It's great to have this as a possibility, like if you can come up with projects like that.
On like the topic that we were on there with like pit people, I'd say like one of my favorites that you've made is definitely It's Us. And
Mm.
I'm just curious like if there's
It's the one
anything.
with the clarinet I mentioned
Yeah, yeah,
before,
yeah,
like the.
yeah, yeah. Like nah, I'm just thinking about it like that. You are an artist. Let me tell you something. That's like my favorite menu theme of like anything ever, and in bat and final theme and etc. That's yeah.
Well,
Um,
thanks. That's great to hear.
next, this is asked would be uh, what are there any genres of games that you would really like to work on music for one day, like in particular? Because you've done side scrollers, you've done turn-based strategy. Is there anything you're like, I think this would be a fun genre to work on stuff for?
Um, Basically, I can imagine like also going in a complete different direction as an experiment, like basically like some RTS or
Yeah.
tower defense or certain things like or RPG as well. Like why not? Like like to have something like which is maybe a bit more atmospheric and really not so like banging. Like I could totally imagine to work on stuff like that.
Okay.
And from the games I play, like I really like certain one of like this indie jams that are basically more in the survivor tower defense, little 8-bit pixel art RPGs and stuff. I like those as well. So basically, I can totally imagine to work on that as well, of course.
All right. Uh, so you say you listen to a lot of video game music. You collect it. You love listening to it just as a not only a passion but a hobby. Is there a favorite genre of game music that you just like to listen to in your free time?
Uh, yeah, I mean, of course, there is certain ones that are really like mixing the chiptune genre with like in a more modern aspect. That's something I really appreciate. I guess also because I'm coming from there, and basically, it's just like the latest things I got myself on mine. That there was this Zamorast soundtrack, like from this Czech company. Like they do really great stuff, I think. And then there was this Darius, like the soundtrack of Darius is absolutely crazy in some way, and it's basically in the same field of like I got myself this. I don't even know the game, but the soundtrack is absolutely crazy. Chelnov Atomic Runner, and another one by Sonata, like it's a Japanese, like and basically he mixes like this Sega and certain other sounds in a very avant-garde way as well. That's really funny and very special. But what else did I like? I listened to. I buy a lot of the deluxe versions and the soundtrack versions as well, and sometimes I even buy only the soundtrack. So and there was basically even some of the things like the old Civilization, like Civilization 3 is actually a really crazy soundtrack if you listen to
Yeah,
it in
yeah.
detail. Or the very early Monkey Island. Uh, the Amiga version is very crazy as well. It's almost like an avant-garde album in some way. Or Windicators, I think, or was it Windicator? Is insanely good. And then I also liked certain ones like this more fairy tale soundtracky stuff that really goes really abroad with certain things. Like there was this Jumping Jack soundtrack, which like with his classic themes, but very circus-like. That was also really nice. And yeah, so basically, I'm very open to all of those stuff. So
Yeah.
like Halls of Torment. has a very nice soundtrack as well. I found like this it's like a sort of survivor game with a very
Yeah.
Yeah.
so basically like everything comes for a certain picture. Like if you see it as soundtrack, like it can always be for a certain situation. Something is just right. Like and so that's the good thing about game soundtracks or soundtracks in general. That basically it can be just the right thing for this moment or for this scene.
Yeah.
What was what was your first video game that you ever played, and what would you say would be like most nostalgic all-time favorite, like that you can't ever shake off, like you think of it like it's a big mark on your childhood?
It was basically, I mean, the first game that I ever played. It was a very long process because it was basically, I said before, it was this Commodore 16 that I got in elementary school, and it was basically the time when there was all these kids movies and
Hmm.
series like Computer Kids and Hacker and War Games and all this. That was exactly this time. And I had this new computer, and I really thought I have this computer now and I can talk to it. And I was like, hello, and no syntax error. uh, blah, let's play, like no syntax error, and I really had to. It's like I had no real help at home. Like I just got this computer and I had to make something out of it, and it took literally weeks that I figured out how to load my first game. It was Scramble. I think it did not even have a real soundtrack on C16. It was from data set, and it was suddenly I managed that something happened. It was loading, and since there was never any sound coming out before, the TV that I was working on was completely cranked up. And when it was finally loaded, there was this insanely loud sound. But it was for me like, wow, it's there. And my mother came to the room, had a look what's going on. Like, but I was happy, she was happy. So basically, that was one of these moments. And then the first things that I really got hooked on also was the soundtrack Katakis by Chris Hülsbeck. Like it was an old C64 side-scrolling shooter thing. It's still very nice, the soundtrack. And Hawkeye I really liked. And there was Zoids, like Zoids from Rob Hubbard. This
Okay.
is like an insane soundtrack actually for C64. Like epic. Like still, like you still think like where's the sounds coming from? Like it's like, but he did not even use a real music program. He really was assembling the music, and so that's why also his drum sound goes like it's really from another world in some way. It's very special. Like in case you want to check it out,
No,
it's online.
absolutely.
It's very easy to find online. So it's so so that was basically certain entry points where I thought like, wow, this is. Or maybe I didn't even think about it back then. I just liked them, and later on I noticed
That's very
how special.
fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of things like that where you don't realize how special like something is to you till like way later.
Mm.
My example for that, just because I'm thinking about it, is like whenever I was really young, I'd play like Luigi's Mansion, and I didn't think much about like the soundtrack for that back in like when I was like 5. Now, it's like one of the greatest OSTs I've ever. So yeah, like that's something I think of as well on that front.
Mhm.
Now, when it came to asking our audience for questions for you, there was something people really wanted to hear about, and they wanted to hear about the creative process on the creation of Goblin Bling.
Oh yeah.
It is so beloved by the Pit People community. It's insane. It is definitely one of the most beloved tracks. Just yeah.
Yeah.
And they wanted to hear like how you made it just sound so goofy but so good at the same time. And they yeah.
I have to say it just happened.
Hmm.
It's really like, but it's not controllable. So basically, sometimes certain things just get together the right way, and it is. dun, 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 dun. It's almost like a
Yeah.
in some way, like it has a sort of, but it was not intentionally. It was like it really just came together, and then yeah, sometimes if you're really that excited, you can just add and add things, and like it just adds to the excitement also for yourself while you're writing this. Like because there's this B part with this weird, it's a sort of 303 that like
Hmm.
that plays the melody again with the synth parts, and it just does it right. Like I don't know, it just happened. Like
Yeah.
it's I cannot say exactly how. So, but I was really really happy when there was also this cover version of Maximum Guitar. I don't know if you heard it.
Yes, I've seen that. Yeah, no, it's so cool. Yeah.
And basically, I liked it so much that we also collaborated. And basically, we did his remix version. Like I kind of mixed it a little bit, and we put it on the remix album as well. So
Wow. Okay. Cool.
Actually, someone just asked a question in chat. How often do you use like unconventional instruments? So like, because you can mess with the pitches or whatnot. Like say, you know what, the way that this drill sounds, I feel like I could pitch this in a wavelength that would sound like it. Because I've done that just a few times where I'll make like this unconventional noise and like but if I pitch it weird, it sounds good. Have you
yeah.
ever done that with something that with one of the songs you've made in particular that you think of?
I have to show you something just because it's really uh the topic now. I
Yeah.
wait. I'm back in 1 second.
Okay. Okay. I'm excited.
Okay.
Thank you
Oh.
for that question, Fall. Yeah, we take all questions in chat. We
Good
will
questions.
be yeah.
I haven't been
And
looking at chat.
basically, I'm I have to see it. I have to look it up again. Which title it is exactly? It's not Juice Man. It's the other boss theme. Let me see. Just 1 second.
Dude, I'm ready. I'm ready to hear this story.
No, but basically, it's always great if that happens as well. And I'm a big fan of trying out very unconventional sounds. And like I
Mhm.
was in Malaysia and Indonesia just in winter, and basically I did tons of field recordings there as well, which is always a pleasure if something happens that really is usable. And basically, let me see, what is it? Basset? Was it Bassetron? Maybe it's Bassetron. Yeah, here. And first of all, that's the mouse harp, and the sound. I don't know if you know this machinery. Uh,
Hold on.
how do I
Give
stop
me
this now?
give me the
Uh, yeah,
the
one
the,
sec.
the name of that one again.
It's the Bassetron. It's the track.
Okay, okay. I'm gonna play it for
Uh,
yeah, play it just like in the background while you're
yeah.
talking about it
But
here.
this machine is like we call it a salad dryer. Like it's a salad dryer. You
Oh,
put in
okay.
salad, and if you after washing it, and
Oh,
and
right on.
I was making this, like we were cooking and stuff, and I thought, fuck, this is such a great song, and it sounds better actually if there's salad inside. So I didn't check it if it sounds different with different salads, but basically.
I love that. That's actually so cool.
Oh, that's yeah. I, I've
And
never
there was a
never
lot
did
of these
that.
moments. Basically, also this wasp track is actually a real wasp that I used with granulizing, like a granulated sample to really give it this more super dangerous touch, and uh, yeah, it was layered and of course like really overblown. Like, but basically, it's always great if this kind of things happen. And I'm a big fan of basically the Joe
Yeah,
harp.
yeah, I own one actually. That's awesome. Yeah.
And that's in there. Also on Pit People, there's a lot of those in there, and I liked it also on Battletron, just to put it in as well. And
Right on.
and then I have this monochord, like it's an instrument from Vietnam. It's a Dan bao, which can make really kind of special sound. I have a slide. Like I'm not a perfect guitarist at all, by no means. But sometimes I just sample certain sounds with this uh, pedal guitar, like the string guitar. It's
Mhm.
called pedalboard, like steel, yeah, like a slide guitar, like a
Oh,
more
like a lap steel.
yeah,
Yeah.
lap steel, exactly. Sorry, exactly. And yeah, no, everything that I can find that can make some sound, like it's always good to change from or like to see what kind of unusual things you can use for sounds and songs.
Yeah. No, you love to see, you love to see creative sounds from just the most like mundane of like just everyday objects, and it shows some insane creativity. Hold on, I think someone just asked a question in chat. Let me read. This question. Those questions have actually already been asked, but whenever this is done, you can rewind the VOD. But I appreciate the input. Acme Arts, I assume that's how your name's pronounced. All right. Now I had someone ask quite a few times. So if someone wanted to get in contact with you to make music, or if you do commissions, would they just email you? Or is there a place for that?
No, they just email me.
Yep.
Absolutely. Hmm.
Well,
That's
there's
the
your
easiest.
answer. Pyros. All right.
I gotta get this out there.
Oh.
My favorite song in Pit People would have to be Cannibal Attack.
Oh yeah.
It kind of has that outback influence in my mind of like, kind of like I know I don't think it has a didgeridoo in there whatsoever, but just kind of like an Australian feel. That's kind of the mindset I've always
There is
gotten
even
from
a
it.
slide. It goes in the direction. That was the
Yeah.
idea as well, to have a little bit of that touch in there as well. But it was just more like a mix, you know. I could not
Mhm.
say it's like a tribe or it's this or that or whatever. It's just like a fantasy world completely.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
How surreal is it to like whenever you finish the game, like you finish it all and you go through and play it and you're just like the whole time it's like I made this music and it's just playing the whole time. Like I that's got to be such a surreal and like kind of just proud feeling. Like I'm curious like if there's anything you'd be able to talk about just on the front of like just that moment whenever it like all comes together and it's finally, you know, all
It's
there.
it's a total childhood dream. It's absolutely an amazing feeling, of course. Like basically, I don't know if you know this record. I did this in. This came out in 1997. It's the Horrible Plans of Flexbuster Man,
Okay,
and it
yeah.
was basically a video game soundtrack to a game that I just a fictive story, and I wrote it together with my band colleague Gina Dorio. We wrote the whole story and came up with all the characters. We made a whole manual, and uh, basically, I always had this idea like to do something like in this direction, and basically, when there was the first request. There was a few licensing things. There was this Mushroom Wars and Digger, and then there was some people here from Berlin who did some game which unfortunately never came to a full release. It was called Blocks in Space, but they told me they still want to do something. I really don't know. It would be great if they really finish it. But basically, there was this few moments when certain things I could really see that it actually my music really works in a game. And
Yeah.
then when Behemoth asked me, it was around 2011 or something, because Battle Block Theater also took really quite some time. And that was actually a very funny process because I did not know them. I didn't know much about Battleblock Theater at all, and they also did not really tell me, okay, this is a level about this, and this is a level about this. There was at some point there was a briefing that there's a cat in there, but don't worry, the sounds are absolutely great. And okay, so basically I just kept doing and sending them tracks, and basically I had no idea that it would be for such a great game. I had absolutely no idea that this would be like such an epic, like creative, like wonderful, like the whole graphic style, everything about it is just so beautiful. Like, and that was also a very special moment for me. And then with Pit People, I gotta say also this moment when in this pirate, this Blood Bay or Blood Lagoon, basically, and there's the shock, and then there is the transition to this more pirate theme, like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then when they do this whole camera move, and there's this reporters explaining something about the scene with these funny voices and stuff like this. I mean, this is really stuff that's super exciting. So. And it's always new, and since they also work with the music so creatively, it's always surprising for me as well how they use it, which is kind of great as well.
It has so in chat, the Behemoth asks. So they said this particular Behemoth chicken would like to know if Patric likes drum and bass.
I like drum and bass, yes.
Yeah.
It depends. I like a wild drum and bass. So I don't like I followed a lot of drum and bass, and at some point there was this time, end of the 90s, when every drum and bass record sounded the same. That was the point when I kind of stepped out of it. So, but I like the idea. I have quite some funny records as well. So,
All right. Has there ever been a moment where, you know, because I don't know if this is realistically a thing that can happen, but you're playing the game and you're just like, oh wait, this is where my song went. Like this is the this is the area. Oh, okay, it's happening here. Okay, I didn't know. Like they asked for this kind of thing, and then I did it, and then okay, yeah, all right, it's here now. All right, I didn't know it was gonna be in this area. You know?
that was exactly one moment when Mr. Moreno also did a cut-up version of this Alien Hominid main invasion main theme. Like I did this medley sort of remix of the original theme, and it basically appears now in the secret room when the boys are banging and this. And that was a total surprise for me, but it works good. It's like really like that's how it should be as well, I think. The,
Yeah.
if they have an idea to it, to just use it, and it's not like a total like I don't know. It's just a fun, creative inspiration for both sides. Like, and that's always nice in this comic context.
So, what was the first time like working with Behemoth, like in the sense, like did they contacted you through email randomly and you're like, oh okay, yeah, this is an opportunity, or was there like you bumped into them at some point during like a con and then you guys like hit it off or something in terms of like this is cool, what was that like?
Basically, apparently they heard my music for I don't know if it was Mushroom Wars or Digger HD, but one of those, and they really liked it. And there was an email request, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I had like a very, very basic, like as I said, there was not much information about Battle Block Theater. Like, but I imagined these characters and to come up with this main theme, this and yeah. So and like it was really out in the blue, and basically it was just fitting very very well. So I had no idea that it would be such a perfect match. So.
Mhm.
Between Battle Block, Pit People, and Alien Hominid Invasion, gameplay wise, which one would have to be your favorite that you played?
Oh, I think he's frozen.
I don't know.
I think
we
we've
lose Mr.
lost him.
Is my
Catani?
internet off?
Oh,
No.
okay. We're so back. We're so back.
Okay.
All right. I don't know if you caught
Yeah,
that,
he looked so happy. Yeah, chat.
so between Pit People, Battle Block Theater, and Alien Hominid Invasion, gameplay wise, which one would have to be your favorite to play?
I gotta say, from the styling and the co-op and the like Battle Block Theater I really like a lot because I also really like this nostalgia and this old school kind of animation and certain things. But in Pit
Absolutely.
People I really like this whole mix up of characters and this really like super weird combination of everything, and that they also take the old characters and just mash it up in some way. I find that also really super nice. So, and I find it like since I like like in the train, like I have this Steam Deck and stuff, and I really enjoy playing those like kind of strategy games. I cannot
Yeah.
really. If I play this jump and run and Metroidvania stuff in the train, like it looks weird, you know. Like if you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like, the more chilled ones are kind of cool, like on the go. I think.
Cool. Cool.
Are
Absolutely.
there any like more like a game that's come out, I'll say semi recently, that you've played or heard the soundtrack for, and it's just like inspired you, or given you ideas, and just like oh, okay, this is nice, okay, and it's just a semi recent game that comes to mind, if there is any, that I'll say within the last like 5 years.
Mm, well, you always think like, wow, this is just a really nice soundtrack, but it's not really possible to really do the same, you know? Like basically, it's there's quite a few soundtracks that I heard in the last time, which are just truly great. But basically, the biggest challenge is also then to do something to stay true to yourself and not to copy something, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
it would also
Yeah.
strange. Basically, there's always a mix of things, but of course, there is a very uh, like, for example, it's something that is completely different, and it's something that I didn't do like for a game. I also not for a game like that, but it's a really nice angle. It was this Dune Spice Wars soundtrack, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And, basically. That is for my part like it's so chilled and so relaxed and so evolving in the background, but it still has a lot of moments that appear here and there, and unfortunately it's not possible to buy it, so basically it was done by this Jesper kit, but I think there's really only the game version so far and no soundtrack to get. But then of course I follow like I don't know, there was this the one with this motorbike, it's incredibly difficult. The one with the motorbike and the how's it called
Trials.
again? Uh, it was. Let me see.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
basically,
think I know what you're
there was
talking about, but I
basically,
can't. The Behemoth said
yeah,
Tron.
uh, there was blood in the title. Let me see. It will come back to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then there was of course this soundtrack, this "Have a Nice Death," was very beautiful as well. And there was a few smaller ones as well, like this. Ah, basically, that's very often happening to me that I collect so much that I get lost a little bit in the in the whole names. But basically, I like the approach of heading out to write. I think the songs were written like really with vocals for the stuff, which I found really kind of funny. For the radio you know heading out the
I
game,
do.
it's like an
Yep.
indie, it's like a with this driving game, and I kind of found this from the idea really kind of nice, the way they did that. But the opinion, like it's very polarizing, the game. I had the feeling like the opinions really go in this or that direction. And as I said, like basically there was this Halls of Torment, which was really sticking out and very special as well, I found. And then this 20 minutes till dawn was a bit more atmospheric and surfy, which was but also very special. And then there was another of the survivor game, Anku. I don't know if I say it right, but it had also a very special approach with like more like I think cello or a violin player, but special, definitely done very good. And then there was a very funny one, Bone Razor Minions. I don't know if you heard about this one. It's a like sort of mini game which is kind of cool, very funnily done, like chip tuned, not like yeah, the soundtrack is rather chip tune, pixel art, RPG thing. Then the Slime 3K is really funny, a bit more ravey. Soulstone Survivors was kind of cool. Of course, the Vampire Survivors ones are really kind of
Yeah.
fun as well.
Yeah.
And what else do we have here?
A lot of games absolutely.
Like if you get me started, I really tell you.
Oh no, I mean that's like I said,
Darkest Dungeon I found
it's
really kind of
yeah.
special from the atmosphere as well. You know, like it's always up to the moment and which kind of atmosphere you want to transport. Like, and I find it a little bit sad that I don't remember the title now of this game with this.
Yeah.
Like it was this Metroidvania style with the motorbike, and it was a bit Tarantino style. The whole like also they had a vocalist for the soundtrack and certain things like that. And basically, if you really work on a project like that and you really have guest musicians as well, I could imagine doing that as well at some point, of course. So, but very often the projects work like you need a lot of time to go into it and try around and go in and go back in there and stuff like that. And so sometimes it just makes it easier to really deliver it by your own. And then when everything is really done, there's already the release more or less coming out. And like if you would ask guest musicians, then everything would turn out to a lot of stress. So basically, very often it's really nice to have it and really say, okay, cool, it's all done, it all works, it's fine-tuned in the game already, you know, in the interface, and so you don't cause extra stress that you say, hey guys, I did new versions now with the singer and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
We have to change everything. So basically, that's also like you know just to keep in the flow with it for the production.
All right. No, that's super cool. I love hearing. I was so scared going into this, you know, that yeah,
Yeah.
that
Very
you know, because yeah, like just being nervous that this would turn into like, you know, like a 2 or 3 sentence response situation. I'd be like, oh, but no, I love hearing you speak so in depth and passionately about these questions. So we're coming to the end here as we've been live for a little over an hour now. But
Whoa,
so
fast.
yeah, time flies when you're having fun. but the last question that I have that, I'm curious on, is there anything, before we wrap up, that you'd like to, kind of talk about, any future projects you're currently working on that you can specify that you can talk about in a general sense on anything, something that you'd like to, promote, talk about, just something that you're working on that you're excited about?
Actually, I'm working on some remix. Like it's not really game related. I'm working on some remix things as well for upcoming projects and a new album. And there is a few things that might come as a surprise as well. Uh, but what I'm also working on is a few new live sets, like to really transform my stuff to also go like do a little bit more live performances with my game music again. And there might be something around Gamescom Cologne happening where I'm playing, and there might be another surprise coming something around September, but that like we will see if this is really happening. But basically I might be around and play with my game music live a bit here and there.
You
So
will
Okay.
see me
I'm really looking forward.
try my hardest to make it.
Absolutely.
Are you coming to
That's really
Gamescom at
exciting.
all? Are you going to Cologne by any chance? Or
I don't have immediate plans for it, but I'm interested if I have the
Yeah.
ability. Yeah.
it's like as far as I know, like it's not 100% confirmed, but there is supposed to be an alternative, real like more indie game music mini festival just along Gamescom as well, because a lot of stuff that happens around Gamescom is really very mainstream and actually part-wise not even game related. And so basically these guys that I know want to do an alternative thing with like real indie game musicians, and that could be actually really kind of nice. So I really hope that they really manage to put this on. And I have a ticket to go to Seattle,
Oh,
but
okay.
maybe I'm also just we will see.
I hope that all
Uh,
works out. Yeah. No, that's so cool, actually. Well, do you have any more questions, Richard, yourself?
no, not that I can think of. I've got a lot of stuff to look into, though. I'm gonna listen to some of the stuff that you really love and see how it's influenced you, or just yeah, I'm really excited.
nice.
I got more of a selection to check out now, so I really
Very
appreciate
nice.
that your time with everything.
That's good.
Well, I guess, yeah, before we wrap everything up, I just want to say, on behalf of, the community, thank you for making, so many very awesome tracks and bringing some of our favorite games to life with that. It's been
Absolutely.
very awesome, and it's made a lot of our childhoods as well. So,
I'm
Yeah.
flattered. Thank you so much. That's great to hear.
um,
We like to hear that.
yeah.
Thank you.
With that,
And
thank you all for being here, everyone. Here on stream. We're live again Saturday. Go check out Patric Catani's, everything. They're on YouTube. Yeah. But with that, we will see you all. Saturday at 11 a.m. EST. Bye-bye.
bye. Thank you. See you guys.